What's up, everybody? I'm Derek Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back some more Monster Hunter Rise, and today we're going over what are the best skills for the Longsword. This is a question that's been asked for me in the comments because a lot of people are new to Monster Hunter. Some people are coming over from some of the older game. A lot of people are new, but even if you're even if you play the old game, they're switching weapons, not sure what to use. This guy's gonna kind of break down everything for you guys. Without further ado, let's dive in. So first things first, how do you even get to this set? So if you want to get to this set, you go to equipment box, then you just put Y, then you can filter based on skills, and it gives you hit confirm, and it gives you a list of all your talisman as well. So the reason this is beneficial, I like doing this screen because it kind of helps me identify what all the skills are, and like this is the best way for me to list them as we go through and identify what are the best skills for a longsword. So before we even get to like naming the best ones, let's just identify which ones you're gonna want to go for. So attack boost is absolutely want to go for attack boost. Agitator right now is not the one. Agitator is a skill it's offensive skill, increase your affinity and attack, but I wouldn't prioritize Agitator. So it's a good skill, but Agitator is a skill you fit into your set once you fit your main 4 attacks or skills. So peak performance, another thing. Peak performance is going to be a thing once we can maintain green or maximum health. What it does is increasing your damage by a certain amount if you're able to maintain your health at maximum level. So right now with no health regen in the game currently, it's kind of difficult to use this skill. So this one will be still in the back burner for a while. Critical eye is beneficial because it increases your affinity. Your affinity is your opportunity to crit on an attack, which will give you more damage. Crit boost increases your critical attack damage that you do by a certain amount. Weakness exploit allows you to get crazy amounts of critical chance when you hit a weak spot on the monster. Most times the weak spots on the monster are going to be the head, the tail, sometimes the front legs, and you can identify if it's a weak spot or not. If you hit a monster and you get a white damage, it's not a weak spot. If you hit a monster and you get a yellow damage, it is a weak spot. Latent Power is one you can use. I wouldn't prioritize this one at all. If it finds its way in your set, then use it. If not, don't worry about it. Maximize is another one. Increase your affinity by not using stamina. That's kind of interesting. We'll talk about it in a second. That one. On this, all these are attacks like fire attack, water attack, based on the weapon you're using. You could put these on, but I would, if I was going for a raw build, I wouldn't necessarily use any of these. Next page, Handicraft is beneficial for longsword because having more sharpness gives you more chance of doing more damage. Because as your sharpness level goes up, your damage goes up as well. Critical draw, this one's a stretch for draw attack. So the only draw attack we really have is going to be drawing our weapon or doing IS slash. That can increase your affinity on attacks. Punishing draw is another one. When you do your IS slash with the longsword, it gives you more stun. And quick sheath. And quick sheath is not a damage skill, but because it allows you to push your weapon away faster, allowing you to counter faster, which allows you to get more DPS. So this one in Monster Hunter Rise is transformed into a DPS skill. In older games like Monster Hunter World, it was useless. It didn't do nothing in terms of like making your sheath faster. But with the changes to Monster Hunter Rise, in case you guys didn't know, this is your first video watching. In Monster Hunter Rise World, when you did the IS slash, it took away a gauge and it went down. In this game, when you do IS slash and you miss, your gauge doesn't go down, you stay at the same level. Now there's a bunch of other skills on here that I won't necessarily use. These are all skills you can use if you kind of want to make a comfy set. Things that make a set comfy is like using things like Divine Blessing to decrease your damage. Free meal to allow you to use more heals more often. Things like that you can use, but if you want to just go overall, like your goal is to do more damage, you're going to want to prioritize your DPS skills first. Now the golden question, which skill should I prioritize first? So on this list, I was going to do a little tier list thing, but I decided to do it on here a little easier to show. I would definitely focus on affinity first. So there's a couple of ways to get there, and I'll go through some of the skill sets right now so you guys can see that. So we'll start with critical eye. Critical eye increases your affinity. Your affinity is how much your chance is going to crit. How do you know if you're critting? When you hit the monster, you get a red light on there. That's how you know you got a crit. So this one's good because it increases your affinity up to 40% when you get to level 4. So now the question is, the beauty of this game is combining your sets. And I'll show my set in a second. You can combine different armor pieces to get your affinity past for a certain threshold. With affinity, I personally feel comfortable fighting with 80% or higher. If I'm at least sometimes 70, depending on how much more damage I'm doing with attack. But if I have at least 80% affinity, I feel comfortable with that on my set. There's multiple ways to get affinity up. You can do this way, get affinity up to level 40, but you need 7 pieces or 7 levels, which can be kind of expensive, or you need to find a set that has them. For example, this talisman I have right now has 2 levels of crit eye. I can combine that with an armor piece that will allow me to be able to take advantage of that. Another way you can get affinity is by utilizing weakness exploit. The weakness exploit is the one I want to talk about here. If you read it with me, it says attack that hits weak spots has a 15% increased affinity. So if your weapon has 0 affinity, you have a 15% chance on that hit to crit. So that's level 1. Level 1 is not that impressive. Level 2, you get 30% affinity. And this stacks as well. So your skill stacks. So if I had critical eye level 2 where I get 10% affinity, and I have this one, at this point I'll have 25% chance to crit on my attack. So now, I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you guys, but as you start playing around the sets, it starts making sense. Because overall, the goal is in a situation to look at this. See, right now I have 40% affinity because that's how much this weapon gives me. If you look over here, I have 40% affinity, and by having crit eye maxed out, weakness exploit, you get 50% affinity. So essentially, just by having level 3 of this skill and my weapon to give me a base 40% affinity, 90% of the time when I make one hit, I have a 90% chance of doing a critical attack, which is really good. Only if I hit a weak spot. If I don't hit a weak spot, I'm not getting that critical. If I hit the weak spot, I'm getting critical. So the goal when you're playing this game is 1, understand the monster's moveset, and 2, know your monsters and know what part of their bodies is weak. So you spend majority of your time attacking that part, so you do the most damage. So to reflect, there's multiple ways to get affinity up. There's critical eye, and there's weakness exploit. There's also other ways. You look at Latent Power, for example, while active, increases affinity by 10% and reduces stamina depletion by 30%. Latent Power kicks in after 2 minutes and 40 seconds. If you have level 3, you get additional 30% affinity. The reason why I don't rank this one as a high priority on the Longsword, because this one is situational. I like skills that have 100% uptime. And what does that mean? It means it's always active versus this one, you have to do a condition for it to be active. If you start looking at speed runs, a lot of speed runs are done within 3 to 5 minutes. And if I'm waiting 2 minutes and 40 seconds for my affinity kick in, I've already lost 2 minutes and 40 seconds of damage. That's why this skill is not necessarily going to be the one you want to go with. Next one we're going to look at is Agitator. So the benefit of Agitator is, as when a monster is in rage, a large monster in rage, you get 4 attack and 3% affinity at level 1. When you get to level 5, you get 20 attack and 15% affinity while active. So as monsters go through different stages in the match, they go from they're chilling, then they get angry, then they go back to chilling, and then they get angry. The reason why Agitator is not as good as it was in Monster Hunter World is because there's no way for you to 100% keep the monster in the enraged state. In Monster Hunter World, you can use your clutch claw and jump onto the monsters, turn around, it gets enraged. And once it gets out of enraged form, you can tell by the little icon on your map is red versus yellow. You can just keep it in that enraged form. In this game, there's no way to provoke the monster as of right now, which would allow this one to be just like Latent Power, it's uptime. So if you find Agitator on your set afterwards, it's cool after you filled out your top skills, but I wouldn't prioritize this one. But this is another way how you can get some affinity as well. Next, we're gonna look at the skill that literally has the most importance if you're going for affinity. So the goal is, if you're going for affinity, you're going to do crit. And crit is the number one way to increase your damage. What you want to do is increase your critical damage. So if you're going affinity, which I recommend as my number 1 skill on the Longsword list, affinity first. Next, you want to go for crit boost. And that's where like you want to pause, because typically you want to go crit boost 3. But right now, based on how the game is with like limited amount of slottage on the armor pieces, the limited amount of pieces that come with crit boost, and also a limited amount of decorations in the game, there's no crit boost decoration, you're kind of limited to going level 2 unless you get super lucky with a god roll talisman and you get level 2 crit boost on that, then you have more options. But right now, when you hit, remember how I talked about earlier, I get 90% affinity on every single hit. When I hit, my damage increased by 40%. Increases damage dealt by critical hits by 40% on top of my regular attack. But right now I have level 2, so increased by 35%. So you definitely want to get affinity up. You definitely want to use crit boost level 2 because that's where you're going to get a lot of your damage. And all of this falls into sequence of making sure you're hitting the weak spot in the monster. Say you don't want to hit the weak spot. Say you don't want to memorize the monster, you're still getting used to things. You can just go 100% affinity and increase your affinity to level 7. Get this weapon, that's 40%. Get this weapon, it has base 40% affinity. You're 80% affinity, regardless of where you hit the monster, you're always gonna be critting at least 80% of the time on that hit. So you can do that if you want to hit the monster anywhere. But the problem with that is you're not being efficient in your hunt. It's inefficient to hit a spot of a monster that's not, you're not gonna get good damage or hit values. That's why you want to focus on those hit values instead. So you can go other ways, but the best way currently is to hit the weak spots because you're gonna get the most damage that way. So that's the importance of critical boost. Since we're here, we can look at quick sheath. Quick sheath's amazing because one, it increases your sheathing time, and it's terrible at level 1, terrible at level 2. Level 3, this skill really shines. I got a video showcasing the speed difference, and I use it in all my runs. So, and the reason why it's important, it allows you to sheath really quickly, which allows you to do your counter quickly. Because in this game, IS slashes everything, then foresight will allow you to do even more damage shorter amount of time. So if you're using longsword, quick sheath needs to be in your set. The priority set will be critical affinity up, affinity, critical boost, quick sheath, then attack boost. That's how I see it. Because the more you can attack, the more damage you do. There's no point in having all this attack if you're not hitting the monster that often. So that's the trade-off I'm looking at right now. Lovely attack boost. I love DPS. That's what all my builds are gonna be for now. As the game is coming out, I always go DPS builds first, then like comfy builds second, then like I never do support builds, so I can't say that. Or just like builds trying different things out. But majority of the time, my builds are gonna be focused on DPS at different levels, budget, entry, budget, and pro and extreme. So attack boost is one of my favorite skills because this multiplies your damage. If you look at attack boost now, in this game it got buffed. I made a couple of videos showing that, but in case you missed those, it got buffed. In the old game, when you got to level 4 on attack boost, it got an increase of 5% affinity and just raw attack. In this game, every single time you go up, you get 5% on attack. So that's what overall is gonna increase your damage. So if you even see my current build I have right now, I went after attack because I did 2 sets. I did a set with crit boost level 3 and attack boost level 4, and I saw the damage. And I did this set, which is attack boost level 7, crit boost level 3, level 2, and this one actually ended up doing more damage than my other set. With the same weapon, everything else the same, nothing else changed. All various been the same. So, Caterpillar's Paribus if you guys are economic majors. So now that's why I opted for attack boost. So ultimately, what will make my set even stronger from this point would be a couple of things. If I can get attack boost, keep it level 7. If I can get a good talisman and get crit boost level 2 on it, and some weakness exploit, I can get crit boost level 3, weakness exploit level 3, and attack boost level 7. That'll be the strongest that I can make at the moment. So if you're ever able to get that, that's gonna be the strongest set. But now I'm gonna go into some other skills for monsters that are good but conditional. So to reflect the top 4 skills you want to have: affinity, get it any way you can, versus like affinity up. Weakness exploit being the most efficient way because this piece gives you 2 levels of weakness exploit. On my build video, I showed you how to get this piece, so check that out. Affinity up, critical weakness exploit, crit boost is very important. Quick sheath, then attack boost. So once you've got those taken care of, then you can start looking at bonus skills. So you might be asking, what are some bonus skills? I spoke about it earlier. Agitator. If you get a set, you happen to get your assortment figured out, that you can put Agitator on your set after you put everything else on there. That's extra damage on the monsters in rage. You don't need the affinity, but sure, take the damage. The next one, peak performance. We need to talk about peak performance. Let's talk about peak performance. Peak performance is one of my favorite skills for Monster Hunter World because it challenges you to play good, to continuously counter. Because peak performance, what it does is you get 5 damage points while active, up to 20 attack points while you maintain full health. So what does that mean? In order to maintain full health, you can't take any damage, meaning you gotta dodge at the perfect time, you gotta counter the monster at the perfect time, and also too, you can get health regen in the world, which will help you keep your health at maximum. So as one, it helps you play better because it trains you to dodge and focus on your counters. But currently in this game, it won't be as beneficial because health regen is not in the game. Unless you use free meal, you keep on healing, or you get to the point where you're not taking any damage at all, then yeah, sure. But it's too expensive to put in the set right now because there aren't any proper decorations for it or armor piece with slottage. We gotta see what the update brings to see like how we can incorporate some more skills like that. So peak performance, it was really good skill, but right now it's a pass. Almost skipped this one. Maximum might. Maximum might is cool, because what maximum might does is allows you on longsword while active increases your affinity. So when it means while active, it means increases affinity if stamina is kept at full for a period of time. Luckily with the longsword, it got buffed because foresight no longer takes stamina, and when you attack with longsword, you don't take stamina. So essentially, you keep your stamina full. As long as you're not rolling or running, your stamina is increased, and you're getting that additional 30% affinity. So depending on what your playstyle looks like, a couple of adjustments you gotta make, what your slottage look like, and your armor pieces, and what your talisman look like, this might work for you in case you don't go the route of weakness, exploit, or critical eye. So what I'm trying to say is there's multiple ways to build your character in the game. Don't watch a YouTube video and feel like that's the only way to do it, because it's not. There's lots of options out there, and just be creative and mix things up. People are showing me builds all the time that are unique on my Discord. Make sure you join my Discord. That allow you to do really good damage. So don't feel like you have to use only one set build just because one YouTuber uses it. So the change in this game is, in the past, you want to get a set and get a decorations to fit your set. In this game, you want to get a talisman and make the set fit your talisman. For example, a lot of people always ask me, DG, why are you wearing this headpiece? What's wrong with you? Because this thing gives me attack up, and it gives me a level 2 attack slottage, so I can put 2 attack on this one. So that's why. And also defensive boost, sure. Offensive guard, I don't use that. But my also decorations I have on it right now, like speed sharpening. So mix, don't be afraid to mix things up as well to get what you're trying to achieve. Last but not least, I would say handicraft. Handicraft is good because this how you use handicraft, in case you guys didn't know. So look at Deepest Night, right? You see how it has white sharpness? And you see that white segment right there? That means handicraft is useless on this weapon. Why? Because there's no more space for this weapon to expand. If I look at a weapon like this one, you see this right here? Sinister, see how it has blue and it has an empty space? If I put this, and I put, I'll scope right now. If I put this, and I have this arm piece that gives me handicraft, what it will do is, you can see now I have more sharpness. Now I can touch white sharpness because I have 2 levels of handicraft. So what handicraft does essentially, it allows you to increase the sharpness of the weapon you're currently equipped. So why would you want to do that? Because as you go up in levels of sharpness, you do more damage, and also you bounce less. If you have white sharpness versus blue sharpness, you bounce on less things, because I know you guys know what it was like to experience it when you're playing the early version of the game. You're bouncing off things left and right. That's the benefit of handicraft. So for record, essentially what it does is when you get handicraft up to level 5, increase your sharpness, your sharp weapon sharpness by 50, which would give me some good amount of white sharpness if I kept that set. Now it's beneficial. Handicraft is another one you put in your set depending on what the outcome is going to be. It's all about min-maxing your stuff. You can put it on there if you want to do more damage and bounce less, but if you're gonna substitute that versus like attack boost or critical eye or crit boost, like those are more important than this one. And also too, sharpening in this game is a lot faster because you can just jump on your paddle move right around the monster and you can sharpen while mobile. So essentially you're not handicapped like you were in the previous game. So this is my list. There's a bunch of other skills on here that you can incorporate into your set, and that's why I said that's for comfy stuff. But for number one, you always want to go critical eye. We just exploit whatever you do to get your affinity up. Number one, crit boost number two, quick sheet number three, then last attack boost. Once you figure all those out, everything else is bonus. Agitator, that's bonus. Maximum Maestro, if you need it, that's bonus. Peak Performance, that's bonus. Everything else, Handicraft, that's bonus. So Mind's Eye, that's bonus. Depends. Like, you wouldn't use Mind's Eye if you had good sharpness, but like if you're using a set that does like a bone weapon that has terrible sharpness, what this does is it stops you from bouncing. So like, depends on the situation, what weapon you like, and what you want to use as well. So punish and draw, same thing. Increases your stun. What is it? Critical draw when you increase your affinity whenever you do a draw attack. Those are cool, but those are all like situational things you do. You put in your set once you're done. Back in the day, we got spoiled by the Fatalis set where it literally had unlimited slotters. You can play around with things. Now we're kind of poor when it comes to our slotters, so we can't do that much. So right now we're just kind of focusing on what's the most beneficial. One thing that everybody's always talking about, one level of focus in your longsword, it helps you to spirit gauge combo. As long as you're doing your encounters, you don't necessarily need it, but it's one of those things that you're getting using longsword. It might be beneficial to put on your set. But this has been my guide. Kind of went through. You guys asked me a question. Comment below if you made this part of the video. Do a hashtag or just do like hell yeah. Let's write hell yeah in the comments so I know like who's making it all the way through the video. But if you guys have more ideas on things you want to see, you want me to showcase, comment below. I'm always open to show new things. This video came from someone saying, hey DJ, show me one of the best skills for longswords. So here it is. I'm gonna start doing more weapons in the future. I know you guys have been asking, but for now I'm just zeroing down on longsword and just make sure that gameplay is like extra crispy. But thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. If you learned something, give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody. Share it on social media. Let everybody know about the Smooth family. Don't forget to subscribe, my family. And also too, we stream on Twitch. Just search Dear Gamer on Twitch. Until next time, Dear Gamers, signing out.